Let's get straight to some news just coming in. Lloyd Austin, United States Secretary of Defense, and Rajnath Singh, India's Defense Minister, at the Manekshaw Center in Delhi. These are pictures on your screen live right now. This is, in fact, the guard of honor for the U.S. Defense Secretary. On your screens, Rajnath Singh, the Defense Minister, and also Lloyd Austin, the United States Secretary of Defense. These pictures are in fact coming in from the Manekshaw Center in Delhi. Welcome for U.S. Defense Secretary that you see on your screens right now. Let's go straight to these pictures coming in from Manekshaw Center in Delhi.
India and US are collaborating in the sense that many jets which are being made in India.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin arrives in India. He is on a two-day visit. This comes 2 weeks ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to Washington as well. This, of course, is to explore ways to further strengthen bilateral defense cooperation between India and America, especially in areas of transfer of critical technologies for co-development of military hardware. Abhishek Bhalla is getting us more details on that. This is a significant trip. It comes just 2 weeks ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. What really is expected, Abhishek?
Well, a very important visit of the U.S. Defense Secretary. He will meet his Indian counterpart, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, and a lot is on the agenda. Of course, defense cooperation between the two countries is something which is taken extremely seriously. The two countries are also, still deciding on a big deal to jointly manufacture a fighter jet engine. So that is something that is likely to come up during the meeting and is likely to be one of the top agendas. They are likely to discuss the General Electric's proposal to share technology with India for fighter jet engines, and also the big plan that New Delhi has to procure 30 MQ-9B armed drones. This is a deal worth $3 billion that has been in the pipeline for some time, but no forward movement has happened. So these are some of the key areas that are likely to come up. Obviously, some discussion on Chinese aggressive maneuvers is also likely to come up. So a range of issues that the two defense ministers are likely to discuss.
Also, India has been very keenly looking at manufacturing of jet engines in the country under the framework of technology transfer to power its fighter aircraft. This is something that India is expecting from the U.S. Abhishek.
That's right. This is a joint manufacturing plan between India's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and GE in U.S. It's still at an initial stage, but if some forward movement can happen during this meet, and if it can set the stage for a larger discussion once the Prime Minister goes to the U.S., then this will be a big deal, because this will make sure that India's mantra of self-reliance, make in India, takes a huge leap if this were to happen. If joint manufacturing of fighter jets between the two countries can happen, and if manufacturing units can be set up within India, this will be a big breakthrough as far as Make in India is concerned.
You know, how is China's aggressive behavior, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, really going to play out as far as talks and discussions between Singh and Austin is concerned? Abhishek?
Well, China's aggressive behavior in the Indo-Pacific, as well as the line of actual control, is something that has been talked about by the U.S. Ministry of Defense several times. Ways to combat this threat is something that the U.S. has taken up. And yes, this is likely to be discussed in the bilateral that will take place between the two U.S. Defense Secretary as well as Defense Minister Rajnath Singh.
All right. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has arrived in India on a two-day visit to explore ways to further strengthen bilateral defense cooperation, and that's what Abhishek, in fact, is telling us about. This is in the area of transfer of critical technologies for co-development of military hardware. As far as the 2 days are concerned, Abhishek, take us through the details of the itinerary.
Well, the U.S. Secretary of Defense arrived last evening, and today he will be meeting the Defense Minister. So it's a short visit that he has in the country, where he will discuss several issues with the Defense Minister of India. In fact, defense partnership is something that the U.S. wants to take forward, and they are looking at advancing this defense partnership between the two countries, and every aspect of this defense cooperation and partnership that the two countries have, planned will be taken up during this visit.
All right. Details that Abhishek is getting us is of the U.S. Defense Secretary who is on a two-day visit to India. These are pictures on your screen of the Guard of Honor, and this is crucial just before Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the US. He is going to be in Washington precisely in 2 weeks from now.
आपके निरीक्षण के लिए अभिनंदन।
Pictures on your screen. Guard of Honor ceremonial welcome for the U.S. Defense Secretary who's here in India for 2 days. These are pictures coming in from Delhi's Manekshaw Center. Lloyd Austin meeting Defense Minister Rajnath Singh to explore further strengthening of bilateral defense cooperation between India and the U.S. Interesting and important at the same time, given that this comes at a time when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit Washington in just about 2 weeks from now. These are areas of transfer of critical technologies for co-development of military hardware that both countries are exploring. Abhishek, in fact, continues to be with us. Abhishek, what's also interesting are the recent statements that have come in from the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, who, in fact, in a summit spoke about the fact that Washington isn't going to stand for China bullying U.S. allies, and clearly, I think the message is clear who the ally at this point in time is, isn't it? Secretary Austin's trip comes just 2 weeks ahead of Prime Minister Modi's state visit to Washington, during which the two sides are expected to unveil initiatives to expand the India-US global strategic partnership. The Defense Secretary is in India on a two-day visit to explore ways to further strengthen bilateral defense cooperation. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and Mr. Austin are set to discuss in the talks the General Electric's proposal to share technology with India for fighter jet engines, and New Delhi's plan to procure 30 MQ-9B armed drones at a cost of over $3 billion from the US defense major General Atomics Aeronautical Systems, besides other issues, is what we know. India, of course, has been looking at manufacturing of jet engines in the country under the framework of technology transfer to power its fighter aircraft. China's aggressive behavior also in the Indo-Pacific is expected to figure in the discussions between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. This, of course, is Secretary Austin's second visit to India. His previous trip was in the year 2021. Two countries, of course, have in the past as well inked key defense and security pacts over the last few years, including the Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement in 2016. Abhishek is there with us, back with us, in fact, getting us more details. Abhishek, in fact, we were talking about the fact that undoubtedly China's aggressive behavior in this region, in the Indo-Pacific, as well as the line of actual control, is possibly going to figure in the discussions today.
That's right. This is something that the U.S. has been extremely vocal about, talking about China's aggressive maneuvers in the Indo-Pacific, the South China Sea. Also, a lot of their reports, in fact, have mentioned the line of actual control. It's also mentioned how India has resisted to the Chinese aggression. So definitely some aspect of the discussion could touch upon on the Chinese behavior and their aggression. This is something that the U.S. has been talking about. But at the same time, as far as India is concerned, India has made it very clear that any battle that India has to fight, it has to fight on its own. They will not be expecting a third party to sort of come and help India. This is something that the service chiefs have said on several occasions. So India's stand is clear that yes, defense cooperation is something that India is always welcomes. But if it's our internal problems at the borders, that's something that India has to deal with on its own.
Abhishek, I'm going to thank you for the moment for getting us those details, Abhishek Bhalla, with that detailed report on what really is expected as far as talks between India's Defense Secretary and India's Defense Minister and US Defense Secretary is concerned today.